Hello everyone, welcome back in the online class of chemistry. I am Sandhi Nanda and today I will explain the chapter number 2 and I will also give some exercises of this chapter. So in previous video we have already told you up to page number 15. Today I am starting from page number 16 and the topic is chemistry and clothing. In previous video we have already told you that the uses of chemistry in different industries. So we told you about the uses of chemistry in cosmetic industries, in soap and detergent industries, and also in the food industry. Now I will tell you the use of chemistry in clothing. Clothes are also connected with the chemistry. So the question is how they are connected with chemistry. So first of all, you have to know about the clothes. First, we obtain fibers from the plants or animals. Then these fibers can be converted into the threads. When these fibers are weaved together, then they are converted into threads, and then these threads are spinned into the yarn. So basically these yarns are bleached by using hydrogen peroxide, bleaching powder, or sodium bisulfite. A large number of dyes of different shades are manufactured on an industrial scale. So these two are the uses of chemistry in clothing industry. First of all, bleaching of the clothes for the cleaning of these fibers, for cleaning of these clothes is done by the chemistry or by these chemicals. And then the second is dye. Always the fibers are in three colors, whether they can be white, brown, or black. But we can wear many colors of clothes. So how can we wear? Actually, after doing all the process, there is a dye which can convert the color of that fibers into different colors. So dyes are also made at the industrial scale. So these are the uses of chemistry in the clothing industry. Then we have to know about the types of fibers, how this clothing industry is useful or chemistry is useful in clothing industry. We have to know about the types of the fibers. There is some error in the slide. I can correct it. There are two types of fibers. One is the natural fibers and the another one is the synthetic fibers. One is the natural fibers and the another one is the synthetic fibers. And these natural fibers are of two types: plant and animal fibers. These are natural fibers. Which one? Plant and animal. And then the second one is the synthetic fibers that I told you. What are the synthetic fibers? So first of all, we are starting with the natural fibers. Natural fibers are of two types. Natural fibers are which we can obtain naturally. So we can obtain it from with the help of the plants as well as animals. So first I am telling you about the plant fibers. Plant fibers are obtained by the plants, and these can be cotton, flax, and jute. These three kind of fibers we can obtain from the plants. Then second, only making of cotton fiber is in your syllabus. In your syllabus only cotton making is there. So I will teach you that cotton making. Then the cotton plants grows best in black soil. Always cotton plants grows best in black soil. In our country, cotton is cultivated in Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka, because the soil of these states are black. That's why they grow in the particular states. Then cotton is planted in early spring. Always they are planted in the early spring. In about 2 months, white or yellowish flowers come up, slowly turning pink to red. After about 3 days, the petals fall off. leaving behind a green seed-like structure called bole. The bole grows slowly. When fully mature, it bursts, revealing white fluffy cotton containing brown seeds inside. Cotton is picked by the machines. Actually, what happens when the cotton plants are sowed, then after 2 months there are some flower which is pink and red in color. After 3 days the petals of these flowers are fall off. Petals of these flowers are fall off, and then they leave a green seed like structure. This green seed like structure is called bole. This green seed like structure is called bole, and this bole grows slowly. When fully mature, it bursts, revealing white fluffy cotton containing brown seeds inside. Cotton is picked up by machines. Then seeds are combed out from cotton on a machine called a gin. With the help of the machine, with the help of the machine we can cut these seeds. We can cut these seeds, and then this is called gin. The gin was intended in India. The gin cotton is pressed into bundles called bales. Then after that we make some bundles. We make some bundles of it, and these bundles are called bale. A bale weighs 200 kg. The bales are then transported to the cloth mills, and then these bales are sent to the cloth mills. The fibers are spun into yarn, and the yarn is woven to make cloth. I told you fibers are spun into the yarn, then these fibers are spun into the yarn, and then it is woven into the clothes. So what is a weaving? A line of thread is laid lengthwise, and another thread is placed crosswise below the lengthwise thread. This is done with the help of the threads. The lengthwise yarn is called the warp, and the crosswise one the weft. Cotton clothes are also spun in rural areas into a special type of cloth called khadi. Let me see you the picture. This is the picture of a cotton plant. So here is the picture of the bowl. It is a bowl. I told you na, BOLL. It is a bowl, or you can see it is a flower of a cotton plant. It is a bowl, or it is a flower of cotton plant. After some time, this white color these white color flowers are busts. Bust means ये फट जाते हैं, and seeds come out from it, and this whole plant is picked up by the machine. You can see in the picture one machine is there, and this is picking the whole plant or white color plants into the machine. Then these machine collect all the cotton plants or cotton flowers into it. Then these cotton plants are combed out, and from this combing only flowers are collecting or fibers are collecting. That fibers is present in the flower. That fibers are collecting by the humans, and they collect it in the bundles, and these bundles are called the bales. I told you earlier that these are collected into the bales. Then these bales are sent into the industries, and these fibers are spun into the yarn. So this is the weaving. How the weaving starts for a clothing. In it a thread is placed like this. In it a thread is placed like this. This is called the lengthwise, and another thread is placed crosswise. This is the crosswise. So when we put a thread lengthwise, it is called wrapped thread. It is written also here. Lengthwise is called wrap threads. Like this, it is a wrap thread, and this is a weft thread. When it is put crosswise, then it is called weft, and then machine starts weaving it. and then machines starts weaving it. This is called the plain weave. But in satin weave there are different types of weaves. So in satin weave we place like this, but the arrangement is different. So in your syllabus only plain weave is there. So I hope it is clear to you what is a wrap thread, which is longitudinally positioned or lengthwise position, that is wrap thread, and which is horizontally positioned or crosswise position, that is called weft thread. So this is the picture how the weaving is done, plain weave and satin weave. And the next thing is, in our villages, in rural areas, charkhas are used to spin the cotton fibers. The threads spun are made into a special type of cloth called khadi. In charkhas, a special type of clothes are weaved, and this type of cloth is called khadi. The making of khadi provides employment to many in villages, especially women. So I think it is clear to you. This is the cotton plant. Again you can see this is the cotton plant, and this is the cutting of the cotton plant. After that we can make the bale from it, and these bales go to into cotton industry, where this thread is placed like this, and machine weaves into a cloth. These threads are weaves into a cloth. So this is the cotton making. Then this cotton is dyed into different colors. Then the next is animal fibers. What is animal fibers? We can get animal fibers by the two animals. Animal fibers are of two types, silk and wool. And silk are obtained from the silkworm, and wool is obtained by the sheep. So first I am telling you about the silk. What is a silk? Silk we got from the silkworm. Silkworm is an insect by which we can get the silkworm. Actually, the Chinese discovered this insect, the Himalayan silk moth. The female silk moth lays about 200 to 500 eggs and dies. The eggs are preserved on the mulberry leaves. Mulberry tree leaves. Eggs are preserved on the mulberry tree leaves because these silkworm only eats the leaves of mulberry plants, and they also lays eggs only on these trees. And then when these worms or these eggs fully grown, they make protective covering of thread like substance on its body. They excrete some kind of substance, which is the silk, which is a silk thread. They excrete, this is the saliva. This silk thread is the saliva of the silkworms. So they secrete from their mouth this thread, and then they turned it around its body. They turned this thread around its body. And when this thread is surrounded by this thread, the body of the silkworm is surrounded by this thread. The body of the silkworm is called cocoon. This time when the body of the silkworm is surrounded by the thread, the body of the silkworm is called cocoon. Now this cocoon is picked up from the trees and kept in hot water. People picked these cocoons from the trees and then picked up them and keep them into the hot water, so that the silkworm died inside. Then it is twisted into fibers, and then we collect that fibers from the hot water, and then weave it and turns it into the yarn. This process is called throwing. Then the silk is bleached. Bleached means cleaning of the fibers, and then it is dyed into the different colors. So I hope it is clear to you the making of the silk. Here is the picture of the silkworm. I hope it is clear to you. Again I am telling you, it is a silkworm. And this is the cocoon. It is very clear in this picture. Here is the silkworm and here is the cocoon, that is the outer covering of the silkworm. These are the cocoons. I hope it is clear to you now. Then the next is the wool. What is a wool? You know very well, we get wool from the sheep. Sheeps of different breeds yield different amounts of wool. For example, a native sheep yields 0.25 to 0.8 kg of wool in a year. Our native sheeps, our country sheep only, our country sheep gives wool less in comparison to the sheep of the foreign brand. It means they give more sheep. Foreign brand sheeps give more wool. So what the people do, they hybrid the sheeps. What they do, they breeders maintain a sheep farm where sheep are kept in hygienic conditions, and in that farm some sheep are native and some sheep are foreigners, and they give mating to them so that the best quality of sheep can be come out. Then what is the process of the extracting wool fiber from these sheep? First of all, they done shearing of the sheep. What is the shearing? Shearing means shaving of the sheep. You can see in the picture, this is the shearing of the sheep by with the help of the machines. By the machines, they are cutting the fleece. Fleece means fibers. Sheep is inside there. The skin of the sheep is very thick, so by the help of the cutters or razors, they are shearing the sheeps. Then after some time, they washed it. After some time, they wash this wool and then they comb this wool. This is called the combing process. After that, after the combing of the wool, again they spin it into the yarn, like the weaving we done in the cotton na? They kept like this and then make the yarn from it. There are different qualities of the wools. So there are many processes in the obtaining of the wool. One is the shearing, other one is the washing, then the next one is the combing, and then spinning. And the wool obtained from the live sheep is called clipped wool, and the dead sheep is called pooled wool. The wool which we get from the live sheep is called clipped wool, and that we get from the dead sheep is called the pooled wool. Here is the process of the shearing. Then we are moving on to the quality of wool. I am telling you quality of wool. There are different kinds of wool. Thinner wool, then a wool of superior quality, it means curly, and then the fine wool. And we can obtain this wool from sheep as well as from camel and yak also. But in India, mainly wool is obtained from the sheep, but camel and yak are also the source of the wool. Then now we are moving on to the next topic, that is artificial or synthetic fibers. That is the second type. I told you now there are two types of fibers. One is the natural fibers and another one is the synthetic or artificial fibers. So natural fibers are of two types, plant fibers and animal fibers, that I already taught you. Then second type is artificial or synthetic fibers. So the what are the synthetic fibers? Fibers like cotton and wool belong to a class of substance called polymer. A polymer is a giant molecule formed by end-to-end joining of small parts or units called monomers. As the monomer repeats itself throughout the whole polymer, it is also called the repeating unit of the polymer. You can understand this. All the fabrics are obtained from fibers. While fibers are obtained from artificial or man-made sources, they consist of small unit or a polymer which is made from many repeating units known as monomers. You can understand it very easily. What are the fibers and what are the threads? We get fibers from the animals and plants. So these small units are the fibers. These small units are the fibers, or we can say it monomers. We can say it monomers. When these monomers attached with each other like this, when these monomers are attached with each others with the help of the machines, they form the polymers, or we can say they form the thread. When they are in the monomer condition, then they are called fiber. But when many monomers are attached with each other, then they are called the threads or polymer. When they are attached with each other, then they are called the polymers. I hope it is clear to you. So and we are reading about the synthetic. It is also given in the figure number 2.17 of your book. Monomers join end to form a polymer. Monomers always forms a polymer. Now, the monomers are small units containing 6 carbon, 10 hydrogen and 5 oxygen atoms. These artificial fibers are made up of polymers which are produced artificially. These fibers are told you which are the small units. These small fibers we can obtain from plant and animals also, but these fibers we can make our own cells. So the fibers which are man-made, they are called synthetic fibers. The fibers or the monomers units which are man-made are called the synthetic fibers. Now the synthetic fibers are of two types. Synthetic fibers are of two types. One is the semi-synthetic fibers and the second one is the purely synthetic fibers. So what are the semi-synthetic fibers? Semi-synthetic fibers are occurring from some natural polymers. The most common examples are rayons with the addition or treatment by synthetic chemicals. Actually, in semi-synthetic, some monomers of the natural fibers are there, and some monomers of the synthetic fibers are there. I hope it is clear to you. Some monomers of the natural fibers and some monomers of the synthetic fibers, or which are the man-made. Or you can say कि we use some chemicals on the natural fibers, then this is called the semi-synthetic fibers. This is called the semi-synthetic fibers. And example of semi-synthetic fiber is rayon, which is also known as viscose rayon, which was originally developed after several unindustrious methods of developing artificial silk were devised, which treated cellulose derived from wood with an alkali and carbon disulfide to produce a viscose substance. Actually, how the viscose rayon we can made? Cellulose is dissolved in a mixture of sodium hydroxide. Some fibers of cotton is a natural fiber, so some fibers of cotton we have taken and then we dissolved it in sodium hydroxide solution and carbon disulfide. A viscous liquid that cannot flow freely called viscose is obtained. A liquid can be obtained. Viscose is forced through spinnerets which have very small holes into an acid bath, and the filament of viscose rayon are obtained. It is very easy to understand. Actually, what happened? We take some fibers and then mix these fibers into the sodium hydroxide and the carbon disulfide solution. Then a liquid is formed. This liquid cannot flow free. It cannot flow. It means ये बह नहीं सकता है. Liquid can flow ना, but this liquid cannot flow. Then so this liquid is called viscose. The liquid which cannot flow is called the viscose, and then viscose is forced through spinners. Then this viscose we flow into the spinners, and then these spinners give small threads. These spinner gives small threads of this viscous solution. So this thread is called viscose rayon. I hope it is clear to you. You can see in the picture number 2.18 which is given in your book. Then the second type is acetate rayon. To obtain acetate rayon, cellulose is dissolved in a mixture of acetic acid. Only the chemical is changed. In viscose rayon, it is mixed into sodium hydroxide. In acetate rayon, it is mixed in acetic acid and sulfuric acid. Then again it is go into that forcing spinneret, that is the machine given in your book, spinneret, and then the acetate rayon is coming out. So the process is same but the chemicals are different. Then the next one is cupro. To obtain cuprose, cellulose is dissolved in a copper and ammonia. The solution of this material in caustic soda is passed through the spinneret and the cellulose is regenerated the hardening baths and remove the copper and ammonia and neutralizes the caustic soda. Then the cuprinium rayon is usually made in fine filaments that are used in lightweight summer dresses and blouses, sometimes in combination with cotton to make textured fabrics and slubbed uneven surfaces. In cupro, the cellulose is mixed with the cuproammonium hydroxide. The chemical is cuproammonium hydroxide. The rest of the process remains the same as for the other types. Then the next one is purely synthetic fibers. What are the purely synthetic fibers? First type is semi-synthetic fibers. There are three types: semi-synthetic, rayon, viscose and cupro. In semi-synthetic, some natural fiber like cellulose is also there and then we mix it with the chemicals. But in synthetic fibers, no natural fiber is there. Only synthetic polymerization of synthetic fibers takes place. That are of also many types. So three types are given here. First is nylon. Nylon 6 and nylon 66 are the most important fibers of the class. These are strong, elastic and light, lustrous and easy to wash fibers made from water, coal and air initially. The fiber is completely synthetic and stronger than steel wire. This fiber is very strong. This cannot break easily. It is used to make socks, ropes, toothbrushes, stands, seat belts, curtains, etc. Nylon you can see in the many parts, like in the chairs weaving we can use nylon, and the curtains, seat belts, but normally clothes cannot be made with this fiber because it is very hard for the body. Then normally it is used to make ropes for rock climbing and parachutes. Then the second is the polyester. This is the first synthetic fiber polymer obtained by the reaction between certain sets of organic compounds form a melt which can be spun into filaments. The special property of this is to it can be easily stretched. Terylene and Dacron belong to this class of synthetic fibers. Normally, polyesters are used to make textiles, bottles, insulating tapes, utensils, etc. It is suitable for making dress material because it is easy to wash and stays crisp and wrinkle free. Then the next and last one is acrylics. Acrylic fibers are a substitute for the natural wool. Many sweaters and blankets are not created from natural wool but a synthetic fiber known as a acrylic. Acrylic yarns appear to be bulky and complete with wool, and these are cheaper and durable than the wool. So the acrylic is more prevalent than natural wool. However, synthetic fiber melt on heating if they catch fire. It could be really dangerous. The fabric sticks to the body of the person wearing it. So therefore, one should avoid acrylic clothes while in the kitchen or a laboratory. Acrylic clothes can burn very easily. So it is not good to make this cloth and stand in kitchen while wearing of this cloth because they can catch fire easily. Then the advantages and disadvantages of synthetic fiber, it is also given in your book. um, I have summarizes some advantages. So advantages of synthetic fibers: strong, they are very strong. Synthetic fibers are strong, they cannot take heavy things easily, they can retain in their shape, no ironing, pressing and extra thing is needed in synthetic fibers. They are very easy to use and they can be stretched out easily. They are soft, they are durable, they are easily acted upon by the moisture, chemicals and bacteria. They are generally cheaper than natural fibers, and then varieties of colors are available as they are manufactured. In cotton, varieties of colors are less, but in synthetic, because they are man-made, the variety of colors are more. And the some are the disadvantages of synthetic fibers. These are synthetic fibers and garishly lustrous. Synthetic fibers melt very easily when burns. So this is the great demerit of the synthetic fibers, it can catch fire easily. Then it is having rough feel. Synthetic fibers may give rough feel, making it unsuitable for pajamas, underwear, etc. Does not absorb moisture. Synthetic fibers do not absorb sweat, trapping heat in our body. So these are the advantages and disadvantages. One more thing is there: blends make for comfortable clothing. Actually nowadays the clothes are not making of synthetic fibers, or not the natural fibers. They are made by the both fibers, natural as well as the synthetic. So these mixed fibers are called the blend fibers. Like terylene is blended with cotton, silk and wool and called terry cotton, terry silk and terry wool. So people nowadays, people are preferring these type of clothes, which is called blend. Now I am giving the answer of some exercises. These are the answer of objective questions. First, objective questions are given on page number 23. First question is DAP is commonly used as. So the option C is right, a fertilizer. In second option A, sucrose is right. In third, B, goiter is right. In fourth, C, nitrogen is right. And in fifth, B, polyester is correct. Then the next one is fill in the blanks. First is nitrogen. Second is sugar substitute. Third is an antiseptic. Fourth is seeds. Fifth is wool. And sixth is stronger. Then the next is true and false. First is true, second is true, third is false, fourth is false, fifth is false, sixth is false, seventh false, eighth true and the ninth is false. I hope it is clear to you. This exercises you have to do in your book only, no need to write in notebook. Now I am giving some short answers. Answer number 1, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Answer second, urea, diammonium phosphate, potassium chloride and zinc sulfate. Answer 3, we use pesticides to kill the small animals and insects who harms the crops and other plants. Answer number 4, sodium benzoate, sodium sorbate. Answer 5th, these are the medicines which are used for bringing down fever, for example aspirin. Answer 6, these are used for relieving pain, for example brufen. Answer 7, boric acid, hydrated magnesium silicate with some perfume. Answer 8, soaps are sodium salt of long chain fatty acid like palmitic and stearic acid. Answer 9, in the process of manufacturing something, if you get something else too, the later is called a byproduct. Glycerine is the byproduct of soap industry. Answer 10, hydrogen peroxide and sodium bisulfite. Answer 11, thin thread like substances formed by the hardening of the worm secretion. And answer 12, for giving more wool than a native sheep. So these are the answers, and the answer number 13 is viscose, rayon and polyesters. Answer number 13, viscose, rayon and polyesters. I hope it is clear to you. These are the answers of short questions. Now I will give the long answers in the next video. Till then you have to complete the short answers in your notebook and learn this lesson properly. In next video I will also give the test paper of chapter number 2 after giving the long answers. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.